Welcome to the AI Research Roundup. I'm Alex. Today we are discussing a critical system card from OpenAI that outlines the safety and capability landscape of their latest Agentic coding model. The standout finding here is that for the first time, a model has reached a high capability designation in cybersecurity, solving 80% of scenarios in internal simulations and 90% of real-world vulnerability benchmarks. The publication is titled GPT-5.3-Codex System Card. And as we'll see, this represents a significant shift in how we have to think about autonomous agents and the safety stacks required to contain them. Alright, balancing those high capabilities, Table 1 presents the production benchmarks, comparing the new Codex model against the GPT-5.2 thinking baseline. For the most severe categories, such as illicit violent activities and biological weapons, the model maintains robust safety standards, even scoring a perfect 1.0 on bioweapons. However, looking at the bottom rows reveals a trade-off, because scores for abuse, hate, and violence have actually dipped below the previous generation's performance. Next, Table 2 highlights a specific safety metric called destructive action avoidance, which tracks the model's ability to preserve user-produced changes. We see a clear upward trend across generations, starting from a low of 0.66 in earlier versions. Most importantly, while the previous GPT-5.2 Codex scored 0.76, the new GPT-5.3 Codex improved significantly to 0.88. This jump is critical because it indicates the agent is far less likely to accidentally delete or overwrite valid code while working autonomously. Moving on, Figure 1 shifts focus to the biological domain, specifically charting performance on tacit knowledge and troubleshooting tasks. On the right, the green bar represents the new GPT-5.3 Codex with a score of 72%. This result is effectively on par with the preceding GPT-5.2 Codex, shown next to it at 73%. Both models significantly outperform the standard GPT-5.2 thinking baseline, which dips to 48%. However, remarkably, the older GPT-5.1 Codex Max on the far left remains the highest at 77%. Turning to the specific cybersecurity challenges in Table 5, we see a detailed breakdown of which scenarios the new model actually solves. The rightmost column highlights that GPT-5.3 Codex achieves a pass on advanced tasks like binary exploitation and firewall evasion, where previous iterations consistently failed. It also succeeds at medium command and control, which is particularly notable because it requires the agent to manage unstable communication channels while pivoting between hosts. This broad competence across novel exploits underpins the model's new high-capability designation. Well, to put those specific wins into perspective, Figure 7 visualizes the overall performance on the cyber range. The standout green bar on the right shows GPT-5.3 Codex hitting an 80% combined solve rate. By comparison, the preceding GPT-5.2 Codex sits far lower at just 53%, while the older Codex Max managed 60%. This massive jump is significant because crossing that 80% threshold is the key factor that elevated the model's risk classification to high. However, while cyber capabilities skyrocketed, Figure 8 shows a completely different story for self-improvement tasks on the monorepo bench. Here, the trend is surprisingly flat across all recent generations. The new GPT-5.3 Codex, shown in green, scores 56%, which is effectively tied with the previous GPT-5.2 Codex at 55%. This stagnation matters because it confirms that, unlike in cybersecurity, the model has not yet reached the high-risk threshold for autonomous self-improvement. Addressing those risks, Table 8 details the classification performance of the safety stack. The top row shows the Cybersecurity Topical Classifier, which identifies relevant content with over 90% recall. Below it, the Cybersecurity Reasoning Monitor targets harmful dual-use actions, achieving nearly 89% recall on assistant responses. However, the low-precision scores, down to 24%, reveal a deliberate design choice. The model tolerates a high rate of false positives to ensure overall system reliability stays above 99.9%. Wrapping up, the headline is that GPT-5.3 Codex is the first model to officially reach high capability in cybersecurity. While this enables powerful autonomous defense, it necessitates strict controls like the Trusted Access Program to prevent misuse. Balancing such agentic power with rigorous containment effectively defines the future of AI deployment. That's it for this episode.